Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to the Duck Talks number 41. And well, today I will not answer the questions from last Duck Talks because there were actually, I guess, just one or two questions in there. So yeah, but thanks again for all the support, and you guys really liked the German commentary that I released just a few days ago. You really did. Also, you guys really enjoy, well, a lot of the previews or first impressions of the new vehicles, and so I want to continue that. So thank you guys for your support. The next thing will be I want to talk about a few business models and also give you first impressions of my 1.71 vehicle thoughts, not airplanes, as I have not really touched them too much. A few observations about civil line rewards, and also, well, then a huge map discussion where a part of this video will be an answer to the Orange Dooms video. Fulda is not a bad map, because that will be of highly interest to me. So, well, my first observation with aircraft is that the question if CAS is dead, I can answer with no, it just has shifted. The easy times are over. You now have to properly aim with rockets, and you will not one-shot every heavy tank regardless where you hit. That was always the thing that I wanted, and I think that's a good change. Also, as I predicted it, we see more German CAS in the shape of bomb and cannon CAS. There are generally more aircraft, more German aircraft in the air. Overall, it has shifted a little bit, and I think that is good. While Spitfires still have their cool abilities of wrecking everything that they will face, and also the rockets not being useless, especially light tank edition such as the BMP-1, to which I will come later, or the Kruppsteier Waffenträger, are still highly vulnerable to rockets. So yeah, they will get killed like there is no difference between 1.69 and 1.71, those tanks. I never wanted CAS to be really dead. I just thought it's hilarious how broken it is. That was always the point. Then again, that always leads me to the question if there is still compression in the game. Especially with this patch, we didn't see a decompression yet, but further compression. And that is just hilarious. But Gaijin has announced, yeah, they will do a rework. They will look at the BRs a few weeks after the patch has dropped to readjust them. I still hope they'll do a great job from that point on, and that is probably one big chance for massive decompression, and I hope Gaijin will go for it. Then to the business models. Well, I will from now on in every second or every third video use the Free Golden Eagle app advertisement, and I hope you all are using it for free Golden Eagles in the video description below. And also, well, just to help me to get some bucks back that I invested in the game, or well, rather in my equipment, a point to which I will come to maybe just in a moment. Then you will not guess what happened next. I got an email from Wargaming. Yes, that company. They actually are asking me if I would do some advertisement videos for their products, namely World of Warships and World of Tanks. And the simple question is, without withholding my opinion on this topic back, is to you guys: would you mind me doing advertisement video for Wargaming's products, or would you just say, you're becoming a sellout as well, I can't stand that, no, I will unsubscribe? Or would you say, well, sure, go for it, there is still enough War Thunder content from you, and I can really assure you that I will not switch over to Wargaming completely. Maybe doing one or two videos. That's what I'm talking about. Talking about money. What the hell? What the hell happened to rank 6 vehicles and their income? What? Yeah, tier 6 vehicles. It's the Civil Line modifier income that I'm really, well, not okay with, or I'm surprised to look at it that way. For examples, Object Nano 6, Soviet light tank or tank destroyer, whatever you want to call it, has a Silverline modifier on a premium account of 225%. The BMP-1, which is 0.3 battle ratings higher, and at a one higher rank, so rank 6 instead of rank 5, has just 150% Silverline income. What? Okay, that just might be one example. Oh no, it isn't. In the American tech tree, we have two premium vehicles. The T-28, the super heavy tank destroyer, or the other version of the T-95, has a 420% Silverline modifier as a premium vehicle with a premium account. The T-11-4, of which I made a tank review, has a 390% modifier. What? Why? I don't get it. Okay. Then also, again with the Americans in the tech tree, the M56 Scorpion at rank 4 has a 225% modifier, whereas the M50 Ontos, also at 6.7 but rank 5, has just 210. So in these three mentioned examples, the higher tier vehicles have less income, Silverline wise, than the lower tier ones. And I don't understand why. It should be the other way around, right? Or am I just wrong? Now, it's not true for every situation. For example, the German MKPZ M47 has the same 420% Silverline income modifier than the tier 4 German premium tanks, except one of them. I'm not quite sure which one of it. Could be the Panzerbefehlswagen 6P. No. It's actually the RE251 with the expensive heat shells. Oh, right. So there is that. I'm not okay with that. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? So the next topic would be about the BMP-1 and the, well, kind of fail in my observation that I have a, well, strict line between rank 4 and rank 6. What I'm talking about here is that the BMP-1 has a battle rating of 7.3 for rank 6 vehicles, and it's a Russian tank or troop carrier, whatever you want to call it. It has, well, a very strange armament. So it has a 73mm gun with PG9s that have 300mm of heat penetration, and also 4 ATGMs with 400mm of penetration. This is a funny little vehicle at a 7.3 battle rating. Now you might say, oh my god, this faces now again World War II tanks. In the shape of the rank 5 World War II tanks, yes, but not with rank 4. At least it shouldn't face 2 ranked lower vehicles. However, that usually means that you get up tiered. But it's incredible how many Tiger 2s I face, especially Tiger 2Ps. So I'm battle rating wise at the max that I could meet, and I'm using a lineup with the IS-3, the SU-122-54, Object 268, T-54-47, you know, just to name those vehicles, and I'm playing more or less just the BMP-1, and I still face King Tigers, but I shouldn't because of the tier difference. You see where I'm going? Yeah. So this is again a very strange observation. It could be that they use higher tier vehicles in their lineup, for example the Jagdpanzer 5, but don't use it. But then I would still face a lineup of tanks where at least one of them is rank 5, and that then would be okay again. So the question is, do people really know how lineup works? Do they know how the rank system works? Do they know how to maybe avoid certain situations like that? Yes and no, they probably use their old lineups and they have not adapted to the new patch, but they also might think, yeah, well, it's not a problem because it's just one real case in this respect where the battle rating is so drastic. but it's just an observation. So if somebody asks, just tell him that you shouldn't be able to face vehicles of 2 ranks lower than yours. And now we come to the map discussion and to the part where this part now of the video will be a direct response to the Orange Dooms video. Fulda is not a bad map. Now, I'm not starting beef with Orange here. I respect him as a very good player. I actually, you know, we were friends once. Not quite sure what it is right now in terms of we have not spoken in quite some time. And he's moving on and I'm still grinding, you know. But jokes aside, I respect his opinion. And I actually have to agree on, well, nearly all of the points that he made in the video, saying that he doesn't like Fulda as a map to play on. But I have to say, well, yeah, I see your point. However, the problems that you have with this map, that you have with the income, because he also said that it takes too long to get into the combat zone or into combat range, and then the reward per time is not good enough compared to your smaller maps. I have to say, I agree. I agree. But that all is just a result or a symptom of bigger problems. So let's just go straight through all the things that I have written down. Many vehicles can't use their strength in the first place on the overwhelming majority of maps, so that is nothing new. It just shifts that now other tanks can take their advantages into combat. Light tanks or fast tanks in particular can now flank wider, cap significantly more important points, and then can also disengage from the capture zone to get into an ambush position. That is, by the way, not camping, that is setting up an ambush. There is a difference. Then there are too few players for good matches in the, well, in the matchmaker or per match in the game in the first place. And especially in conjunction with the spawn point system for re-entry, you're reducing that amount of players within the first 2 minutes of the engagement time to such a degree that, well, of course you're bored. But I'm also bored on other maps where the last enemy player is running. But then that is never mentioned as the fault of the map. So if somebody is running in an airplane or just sitting on his airfield, or he's hiding in a tank somewhere far in the furthest corner of the map behind a house or a bush, well then what are you going to do? What you're going to do in that case? You know, you just can't blame the player. And yeah, because the RP income in your average games is already so low for ground forces, I often don't bother to respawn after the first death anyway, because I know that I will most likely lose the match anyway, that I can't get into a proper tank that would now fit the need for my team. For example, there are IS-6 rolling in our base and I just can't spawn in a AAA. What are you going to do? Yeah. So I just bail out of the match and rather go into a, well, true lock, rather than waste my time just driving around the map or getting killed anyway and just letting the enemy team harvest RP or something like that. The current system is broken and it should be massively reworked, in my opinion. Small maps are the way that the meta of tank RP currently works okay-ish. But then again, it's the nation's flavor. Which nation has the advantage in city fights? Spoiler, it's not the Germans. Then, well, the funny thing that bailing out of a lost match 5 minutes before it will probably end with a loss anyways, and meanwhile playing another match and bailing out there is much more efficient in RP gain in the first place than enduring a battle. That shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should be rewarded to fight for a long time, even if you lose. But Gaijin doesn't give you any significant reward for that. It's the match multiplier. Match after match after match. I have matches with 10, 15 kills. And I didn't get a lot for that per kill. The more I kill, the less I get for it per kill. Compared to the end result where I make 3 games with 5 kills each in the same amount of time. It's more efficient. It shouldn't be like that. The peak of that is that arcade is still much more efficient for grinding and silver line income than Tank RB. It shouldn't be like that. That should be reworked. I want to see more players on the bigger maps, not a lousy 16 versus 16. Where is the 32 versus 32? Why do we not give players more spawn points at the beginning of the match, or make it like that they have 3 guaranteed spawns? That should remove one of the biggest problems, spawn camping, in the first place, because there are too many tanks for a light tank to get around the entirety of the map if played correctly. So there should be more or less a stable front line for a longer time, less frustration for the players throughout the matches in general. That is what I believe in. And then just to grab maps and throw them into the trash, well, that's not the way that it should be. I agree, however, on Spain. It's an awful map design. And just to rotate one of the airfields by 180 degrees in terms of the launch direction for the aircraft, it would be an easy way, but it wouldn't be a complete fix of the map. Spain is broken, but Spain is not it's not just that the map is huge. It's a problem when it then comes down to biplanes fighting on this map, and also the AI really circling around like crazy and attracting players. There are many things that should be reworked in the game, but it's certainly not the big maps. It should be everything around it being adjusted. To really make matters worse, Kursk was the most epic map that I've ever seen. And then it got reworked with the addition of the city or the village in the middle of the map. Well, it's not too bad, but what I really think is that people are not comfortable playing it, and then they'll go onto the forum and cry, this map is big, I don't like it, it's shit, remove it, nerf it, whatever. And then the people that are okay with this map, they don't complain, they don't cry. They just sit there and play the game. But then the developer is just seeing the negative responses. The developers are just seeing the things like Kursk is bad. That's all they see. And so they implement more and more city fights, city combat zones, and what we are going towards is a World of Tanks meta. I despise that thought. I think World of Tanks is actually going the other way around. They did a testing with a 32 versus 32 on the sandbox server, I guess, with a huge map that was some version of Normandy. I'm not quite sure. But it was epic, even for me as a War Thunder player. I looked at certain of the videos, for example by Quickie Baby, and I was deeply impressed what they managed to do with this inferior gaming engine, for example. And yet, War Thunder or Gaijin has all the tools to make extremely epic matches, and they're just throwing it out of the window. Unnecessary. Not using their game advantage to the full extent. Not using their, well, how to say it, their game engine, the possibilities to the maximum. They just are settling for an average approach towards a team gameplay. Those are drastic words. I would love to give you a good example of a map and a lineup where the spawn point sits and how the match should work out. I would love to, try designing something like that. But I'm not a good designer, let me tell you that. But what I am is good at looking at a map and saying, okay, that is good, that is bad. There are things about Kursk that are bad. For example, where the spawn points are. The spawn points should be even further away, and they should be more further apart from each other. And we should have 3 of them, so everybody could go for a real side that he wants to go on. And people need to be they need to be educated how to do long-range shooting. I might do a guide on that, a really good one at that, but that takes time. And I also want to say, okay, general long-range shooting, you have to do this, you have to do that. On Kursk there is this location and that location. Fulda I don't know too much yet, but the games that I played on it were a blast. And then the next thought should be, well, maybe remove certain maps for certain tiers. I agree that for, certain tiers, Fulda might not be the best map. For example, late at night when there are not enough players in the queue, when there are just rank 1 to rank 2 vehicles in the queue, maybe not use that map. Because, long-range shooting at that map with tier 1, tier 2 tanks is not the very best. And then we have to talk about the long-range shooting in the first place. A large map does not necessarily mean that you can do long-range shooting on it. Long-range shooting is for me like 1.5 kilometers and onwards. Everything below that is medium combat range, up until the point that you engage short-range gameplay, which is 500 meters. And what we see is most of the time short to maximum mid-range gameplay. But that is also not using the full capabilities of the game engine. And to also give you the deep satisfaction, I played an awesome match in a Gruppsteier Waffenträger where I got my first ace with this tank, lo and behold, on Kursk. And it was not really just sniping, I was also going in with that tank, which is a pitiful tank if you ask me. Except the gun. The gun is just awesome, especially at that battle rating. It's just one of the strongest guns that you can have at such a BR, with the combination of APHE, muzzle velocity and penetration. It's just awesome. And just to go there, just to really know what long-range shooting is, you need to get out of your felt comfort zone and embrace the thought of that War Thunder can do so much more. Now, this is not meant for the Orange Doom. This is meant for everybody. Everybody that is listening. And yeah, there are maps that I really, really dislike. For example, Port Novorossiysk, where there is the middle capture zone on one of the iterations. I think there are 3 iterations, where it is completely in the open, and the northeast team has a really hard time even getting into shooting range before some potato truck from the south team just rushes in, caps it, and decides the game in the first 30 seconds. This is also something that really, really annoys me. And it is just, for me, I had some thoughts of how could you work around it. You have to kill yourself through the middle of the enemy team to be able to get there in time. And by that time, they have set up another killing zone. By that time, they just have obtained a significant spawn point lead, or not spawn point, but points lead overall. It's just not nice to play on this iteration. And then the rest is again close quarters city fight. Woohoo! We have like it feels like we have already 20 maps like that in the game. And then there's White Rock Fortress. I like the idea of the map design White Rock Fortress, that where the walls have come down due to, I don't know, the walls coming down due to the fundament not being able to carry it anymore, or being was bombed, something like that, and you go through the breaches. But there is just mud everywhere on this map. There is mud, making the gameplay long and slow, and I don't like that either. One of the reasons why I also like Kursk is because there are good ground. There is good ground, so you can drive relatively fast on this map on most situations. And you can choose if you want to go for the long range engagement or the brawling in the middle of the map. So this is why overall Kursk is good. I agree that not every tank is good at Kursk, but you can also make certain tanks work. For example, the King Tiger on Kursk, when you have the long range engagement and the enemy is situated in one direction. I made a video on that. There is nothing more deeply satisfying to turn around and to hide your weak spots by just angling the hull slightly and then rocking forwards and backwards, making your vertical weak spot to a very small horizontal weak spot. And this is what your enemies most of the time can't handle, because they are used to shoot in your big turret front at close range. And then they are not used to snipe for this tiny little always moving part of the turret at long range, while you still can try to find proper aim for yourself. That needs training, but people feel so uncomfortable. They go onto the forums, they cry about it, and that all what we get are smaller and smaller maps. And I'm so glad that we saw the Japan map, which is also big, but it's rather, well, to be honest, it's also relatively short range engagements in most cases. And then we saw Fulda, and Fulda is also a map that allows not for extremely long range engagements, except if you choose to do so. If you go into certain positions, you always have the choice also for brawling if you know where to go. I do not completely understand Fulda because I have not played it enough, but what I've seen is awesome. And it's not just awesome because it's new, it's really awesome because it's really good. That is my point of view, and I'm glad that we have a diversity of maps in the game. But that also leads me to two problems. First of all, the map rotation. It seems like every player has a different map rotation for his account. It feels like that. And it changes within a week's time. But within one day you have practically the same 3 maps all over again. It feels like that. And then, well, people of course get annoyed. And if they are in their rank 1 to rank 2 vehicles and they get Kursk after Kursk, I understand that then is not enjoyable. And so I guess we should get, well, how to say it? We should remove big maps for low tiers. Tier 1, Tier 2. Tier 3, where for example there are the first Panthers and the first Panther and the first Tigers. Well, they are known for their long range engagements, so they should get Kursk. Also because that map then is historically accurate. And I would love to see ISU 152s on that map, because suddenly their boomstick is not that worth anymore. Is not that much worth anymore, because range finding is something that takes practice. And I hope that I am coming around to do a proper guide on that, because I have many ideas, but I have to redo some of my settings before I can properly do that, and that will take time, sadly. So what can we do to enhance the feeling for long range engagements? Well, what about a modifier? What about a 50% modifier for large maps? Why not? Why not? So if you get Kursk or Fulda, you automatically get 50% bonus in terms of RP and maybe even silver lines. And suddenly there would be another thing very positive about those maps. But that is just issue fixing. We need more players, we need a rework of the spawn point system, we need multiple changes in decompression to make that also a bit more balanced, to give also armor more value so that tanks can, to a certain degree, fight in the open. That is something that I would love to see. The next thing then is well, my system. My old PC is now, well, struggling with frames per second and also running stable. The rendering is not running as smoothly anymore as it was doing like half a year ago. And so I bought a new PC, and I also was well, interested in making the old PC work again. Now the funny thing is, I was at a friend's house where I received a new PC, and that thing is just an absolute monster. So I will not tell you the details, but it's awesome. But my old PC, well, my friend just did some corrections on my settings. He also did some fine-tuning, and then we tried out War Thunder. Now many issues are now gone. Many issues are now gone. And then again we tried out War Thunder, and suddenly I was running War Thunder Ground Forces at 140 frames per second on movie with a 960. That was just awesome. And I went home. I, well, set up the PC again with my monitor and so on, and suddenly I had the old 40 FPS at movie settings. And that was really crazy. And I had to work around a lot to make it back to get, well, at least something like 60-70 FPS on maximum. That is something strange. I don't know what happened. We tried out a lot, but at the end of the day, I think I have to really wait up until the point that I can set up my new system. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the big map discussion. Am I completely wrong? Do you like just one specific type of vehicle? Do you just like one specific approach towards map design? Do you think we should see different maps for different tiers? And which maps should be removed? And which kind of maps would you like to be added to the map? So I know that there are a lot of wishes for RRB, and I agree to that, but I'm just talking here about ground forces. Let me know in the comment section. Anyways, that's it for me today. And well, give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.